Today I'm going to distress this buffet using little pieces of sandpaper just like this. I'm going to show you how I go about distressing a buffet. I did apply top coat to it yesterday. I used the polyacrylic ultra flat. It is a water-based top coat. You don't want to put a polyurethane on top because a polyurethane is an oil base and it will tend to give a yellow look, especially on white, and we don't want that. We want it to be nice and white, whatever color you're painting. So I did apply a polyacrylic in the ultra flat. I do use ultra flat because it does give a pretty matte finish to it, and that's what I like. The reason why I did top coat first before distressing is because when you distress, you take off some paint in whatever areas you're distressing, and then you have the raw wood again. So if I waited, painted, distress, and then applied the top coat, you would get tons of bleed through because I exposed the raw wood. I used the sandpaper to get through the paint, through the primer, and therefore you would have your raw wood, and we don't want the bleed through to come through. So what I did was I completely top coated the entire buffet. Now I'll go through and I'll distress certain areas, like I'm going to do a light distressing on the edges of the furniture. And then when I'm done with that, since I will have wood exposed, I'll just put some wax on a little piece of rag and go over the edges that I did sand, just to seal in the wood and protect the wood. So I'm going to show you how I go about distressing using little pieces just like this. All right, so I have my little piece of sandpaper. This is 100 grit. I usually use 100, 80. It all depends on the thickness of the paint, the primer underneath, and how heavy I did put the top coat. So I'm going to try it with 100. And what I do is I usually just put my 2 fingers behind the sandpaper, find the edge with my finger underneath like you feel it, and I just lightly go over it, just like that. So just based on how much I had to use, like how much pressure I had to use, I think I'm going to move up to an 80 grit. Okay, I wanted it a little more coarser, so I did go to an 80 grit. Here's my 100, and I did have to apply a little more pressure than I'm usually used to. So I'm going to do this and see how that goes. Yeah, much easier. Comes up much easier. So I just go over the edges. I just want a nice light distressing, just like that. And the corners I tend to do a little heavier because when they are in the drawer, sunken in a little bit, like I just wanted to really show a nice depth there. Yep, I like that. So I'm going to go through and distress my whole piece. And when you get really used to doing it, you'll just know, just based on where your fingers are against the edge, that you're getting exactly what you want off. Some people use a hand sander. I like to do everything by hand. I like to paint by hand. I like to roll by hand. I like to distress by hand. You just have more control over it. Again, just let the sandpaper do its job. You don't have to press so hard. You're just mostly guiding it with a little bit of pressure and let the sandpaper do its job. Okay, this drawer is done. There was a spot that I distressed a little too much, so I am just gonna go over it with some paint to hide it because I like my distressing to be pretty precise. I know it's supposed to look, you know, like a normal wear and tear and very like organic looking, but I'm pretty particular about making it have a clean distressed look. So having some of it missing right there and nothing on the other sides, that would drive me crazy, and I like it to look nice and clean with the lines. So that's just what I'm doing. Everything's starting to look really nice. I just dusted it off, all the distressing sanding dust, and it's coming out really good. And when I put some wax on it, it's gonna just condition the wood a little more and stand out just a little bit more than what it looks like right now. I'm just gonna put a little bit of wax, like wood polish. I just have a little bit on my, get some more, a little on my rag, and I'm just gonna go over the wood. Just easy, nothing crazy. Just cover and condition the wood that I distressed down to the natural, to the original wood, just so it has a little protective coating on there. Okay, I'm gonna go and I'm going to finish doing the rest of the buffet with the wax.